So coming to our comfortable seat, we're going to draw the shoulders back over the hips, lengthen through the crown of the head, palms up to receive or down to relax. And let's take a nice, slow, deep breath in through the nose if that's okay, if that's available. And then out through the nose, feeling that belly rise and fall. And we know that our belly breaths are the most important kind when we are engaging in anything physical to get that maximum circulation around the body. Bit of rejuvenation this morning, much needed rejuvenation in a very warm start. And then just with the eyes softened or the eyes closed, start to invite in your intention for your practice this morning. Any and all intentions are welcome. And then just allowing ourselves to consider the idea that difficulties in all things are meant to rouse, not discourage. So let us be roused on our mat this morning, not discouraged. So practicing acceptance, practicing compassion towards ourselves and honouring this morning's body. And then bringing those palms to press in front of the heart in Anjali Mudra. And then from here we're going to come to lying down. Now before we do that, before we get too comfortable, if you do practice with props, if you have sore knees, have a blanket nearby. We won't spend too long on the knees today, but it's just there as your option. Otherwise, joining me on our backs, rolling down from the belly, using those belly muscles, walk those heels in towards the body. And we're going to come into a little bit of core connection with our bridge pose, and we're going to open up the whole front of the body here. So walking those heels in, have those knees hip width apart. We're going to bring the palms down alongside the body to begin with, and then roll those shoulders back. So this will open across the chest, open across the heart. But there's also a tendency here then to arch the lower spine. So try to compensate with that by lengthening through the tailbone, pressing through the floor and lowering and softening that upper back towards the floor. From this position, we're going to exhale and draw that tummy in towards the spine, curl the tailbone towards the knees, and draw that navel down. And then as we inhale, we're going to reach those fingertips up and overhead and get long. And then as we exhale, we're going to bring those palms alongside the body, press through the floor, curl the tailbone and lift the hip points up towards the sky, keeping those chins away from the chest. So exhale, pressing through the feet. And then inhale, gently releasing, fingertips come up and overhead. Again, allowing the whole length of the back to press against the floor. And then exhale, draw that tummy in again, bring those palms alongside. Press through the feet, lift those hip points, roll those shoulders open and back. Inhale deeply, keep those knees parallel, avoid them sort of splaying out towards the side. Exhale, release. Inhale, sweep those palms up and overhead. Bring that navel in towards the spine as you inhale deeply. And then again, exhale, draw that tummy in, curl that tailbone up, press through the floor, bring those palms alongside, all the way, lifting those hip points up towards the sky. Good. And then inhale, lift and lengthen fingertips up and overhead. From here, we're going to bring this into the belly now. So we're going to exhale, draw the tummy in towards the floor, and bring those fingertips forwards, and lift the head and chest just enough off the floor to feel that lower belly, the pelvic floor draw in. And then inhale, release those fingers up and overhead. 4 more times, moving with your own breath. Exhale, draw tummy in. Peel that head and chest off the floor. And then releasing as you're ready, moving with your own breath. Couple more times. Exhale, drawing in, lifting up. Draw the pelvic floor up and in. Exhale, inhale, releasing up. And again, perhaps this is your last time. Exhale, draw the tummy in towards the spine. Lifting that head and chest towards the thighs. Opening across the collarbones here, rolling those shoulders back. Hold for a little bit longer if that's okay. Maybe you want to support the back of the head a little with the palms of the hands so that we don't overburden that neck. Holding a little bit longer. And then inhale. relax and release the palms alongside the body. Okay, from here, we're going to lengthen through the feet, so lengthen the heels away, and we're going to bring the palms facing down underneath us so that the thumbs are pretty much touching. Again, roll those shoulders down towards the floor. And again, start to curl that tailbone towards the heels, drawing the tummy in. And you'll feel that pelvis sort of scoop under, and strength and firmness sort of coming into the side waist, into the belly above the navel, as you scoop that tailbone under and draw the pelvis underneath you. From here, we're going to start to work the core, and I'd like you to go only so carefully and moving as quickly only as feels comfortable for you. And again, concentrating on that movement of the breath. So we're going to start by inhaling and lifting that right leg straight up towards the sky, keeping those right toes drawn back. And then we're going to exhale and lower that right heel towards the floor, using those belly muscles as we exhale, releasing that heel towards the floor. And we're going to switch to the other side now. So take an inhale, and as you do, lift that left heel straight up towards the sky. Draw those toes back, left toes and right toes, and then exhale, softly lower back down. We're going to switch. So take this as our little trial run. Movement with breath. So inhale, lengthening through that right heel. Draw that tummy in. And then exhale, slowly release that heel towards the floor. Switching sides. Inhale, pressing through both heels. Draw the toes back. Draw that tummy in, firming up on the pelvic floor muscles. And then exhale, softly release. Okay, so from here you have the option to continue moving at that pace. Otherwise, you can pick it up a little bit to get some heat in the belly. So try to move with your inhales and your exhales, lifting and lengthening, alternating those heels. And maybe there's a sort of time where the ankles start to crisscross, so you're almost scissoring through the air without tapping the heels down. So keep that breath nice and smooth. The minute that heat starts to build a little bit too much in the belly, just release the heels down, take a breath, open up the chest, and then feel free to join us again. So lifting and lengthening, movement with breath, keep those toes drawn back to get into those deep abdominal muscles. So we're scissoring those heels through the air, if that's okay on the low back, if that's okay on the belly. You'll start to really feel this. You might feel this in the thighs. Scissor, scissor, scissor. Release if it gets too much. Take a breath, lift and exhale. Lift, inhale, exhale. Navel towards spine. A few more times. So lifting and lengthening through those heels. Scissoring those ankles. Movement with breath. Keep those shoulders nice and soft, supporting that pelvis on the palms of the hands. And then exhale, release. Take a nice inhale here. Let's lift, open and expand the chest. Maybe you can press through the upper arms to get a little extra bit of lift here. Feel that navel release, those deep abdominal muscles release for a moment. And then as we're ready, we're going to exhale and draw that tummy in towards the spine again. Curl that tailbone towards the heels. Draw the tummy in, and you'll start to feel those heels lift off the floor. From here, we're going to start to lift those ankles up about a third of the height. And hold with the belly here, drawing in. Let's bring it up to 2/3. Tummy draws in strongly. And then all the way up, which probably feels quite nice on the belly here, is actually that not having to lift so much weight. We're sort of balancing those ankles over the hips here. Could be more of a release. Deep inhale. And then exhale, start to bring it to 2/3 of the height. Hold for a breath. A third of the height. And then softly release the heels all the way to the floor. Okay, so we're just recruiting those muscles early on in the core here today. Release those palms from underneath you. Make some circles on the wrists. Fanning out through those fingertips, just enjoying this length. Allow those toes to soften, those knees to soften, thighs to soften. Switch directions on those wrists, going back the other way. Good, and then from here, let's take it into a gorgeous couple of twists, again for a deeper release for the belly and also to nourish the spine. So draw that right knee in towards the chest now, and if that left knee needs to walk in too, because that feels more comfortable, then allow that left heel to walk in towards the body. Hug that right knee in towards the chest, and then if you are able to continue to lengthen through that left heel, then do so, drawing those toes back. Press through that left heel though to activate those hip flexors at the front of the left thigh. Continue to draw that right knee in towards the chest. And then exhale, we're going to bring that left palm to the outside of the right thigh, open that right palm to shoulder height and draw that leg across towards the left as you look over towards the right. And really sort of start to press that right thigh towards the ground and allow that hip to sort of compress slightly. So gently pressing through that hip, which can be quite a nice release when we release in a moment, when we let go. And then exhale, draw that right knee back through centre. Draw it in, lift that head and chest towards that right knee, peeling it off the floor. And then exhale, softly release that right foot alongside left, switching towards the other side. So draw that left knee in. If that's too much of a stretch for that front hip flexor, then draw that right heel in. Also squeeze that left knee in towards the chest, draw the toes back. Then lengthen again through that right heel, toes draw back. Soften those shoulders towards the floor. Length is encouraged through the sides of the neck here, so keep that chin away from the chest as you draw that left knee in and press through that right heel, whether the knee is bent or whether the leg is extended. And then from here we're going to bring that right palm to the outside of the left thigh, draw it across the body, and again pressing through that left hip with that right palm, sort of forming a kind of gentle compression in that left hip as we open over towards the left hand side. And then allow that lower back to soften. Allow that right thigh to soften towards the floor and keep those right toes drawn back a little. Holding here. And then exhale back through centre. Use those tummy muscles. Draw that knee back in towards the chest. Lift that head towards the knee. Keep those toes drawn back. Hold. And then exhale, softly release on down. We're going to take a nice inhale here and get long. So point the toes this time. Reach for those fingertips and then stretch through the heels, pointing the toes, stretch through the heels, point the toes, and then exhale, releasing both knees in towards the chest, and we're going to roll all the way onto our right hand side and press ourselves up to all fours. From here, this is where if you have got sore knees, I'd recommend you reach for your blanket. We're going to do some cat-cow tilts to warm up the spine. So bring those knees onto your blanket if you need one. Hip width apart, hips over the knees, rotating from the shoulders, plant those palms, and then soften through those fingertips. So really lengthen and extend through those fingertips as you then bring those shoulders over those wrists. So we're going to wake up the spine, we're going to stretch into the shoulders, and from here we'll come to a higher level and we'll start to build a little bit more heat as well as some stretch this morning. So from here, we're going to start to sink that heart towards the mat, bring that tailbone up towards the sky and roll those shoulders away from the ears, scooping those elbows in towards centre. So squeezing those shoulder blades in towards centre. Almost imagine, I'm trying to think of ways of imagining how I sort of can convey this. So imagine you're sort of cracking a walnut between those shoulder blades. There we go, let's try that one. And then press that heart forwards, releasing those shoulders away from the ears, and then exhale from the tailbone, draw that tummy up, chin towards chest. Press the floor away to get some height and lift into the shoulders. And then let's go again. Inhale, press that heart forwards, tailbone reaches. Squeeze those shoulders away from the ears. Inhale. And then exhale, rolling up from the tailbone to tuck that tailbone under. Scoop that pelvis, draw the tummy in. Press through the palms of the hands, get some height and lift through the shoulders, chin towards chest. Again, inhale, press that heart forwards. Tailbone reaches back. Squeeze those elbows in, crack that walnut between those shoulder blades. And then exhale, scoop that tailbone under, draw the tummy in, chin towards chest. Exhale. Inhale, releasing to a neutral spine. And then from here, we're going to come into a nice shoulder opening twist. So we're going to walk that left palm in towards center. Bring those big toes together, those knees slightly apart. And inhale, reaching for that sky with the right fingertips. And bring that left hip forward a little as you scoop that tailbone under, lifting and drawing up that belly towards the right hand side. So lengthen through those right fingertips. Maybe that feels comfortable. Maybe you'd like to bring that right palm to the sacrum and draw that right shoulder away. Or maybe you'd like to sweep that right palm around to the left hip. Draw the shoulders open, spread across those collarbones, and continue to press through that left hip, scooping that tailbone under as you look towards the right. Maybe you can allow that head to dangle towards the left shoulder. Take a breath here, close or soften the eyes. Keep that tummy lifting. Keep that pelvic floor lifting on your exhales. And then inhale, softly release. Exhale, sweep that right palm behind left wrist and lower onto that right shoulder.
bringing those left fingertips up and overhead. Big toes can still be together, but try to draw the hips to parallel this time by swinging that right hip back. Maybe you can stay here with those left fingertips lifting, or again you can sweep that left palm round to the right hip and take it into a gentle shoulder opener towards the left hand side. Inhale, opening. Exhale, releasing, unwind. Press through that left palm. Come on to all fours, then we're going to switch to the other side. So again, big toes together, knees can be far apart. Walk that right palm in towards center, bring that heart forwards, and then inhale, lift and lengthen over towards the left hand side. Press through that right hip, but curl that tailbone and draw the tummy in. Inhale, lengthening. Soft bend in that right elbow so we don't jar the elbow joints here as we open towards the left. And then exhale, either reach for the sacrum or the right hip, and again sink back and shuffle back in to broaden across those collarbones at the front and draw that left shoulder behind you. Look over towards the left, maybe drop that right ear towards right shoulder. And then inhale, unwind, reaching out towards the left. Exhale, tuck that left wrist behind right and lower onto left ear as we sweep those right fingertips up and over towards the right hand side, lowering onto that left ear. Reaching for the sky, the sacrum, all that left hip this time to draw that right shoulder open once more. Inhale deeply. Exhale, unwind. We're going to bring that right palm in front of us, come onto all fours, and from here we're going to come to that higher level. So tucking those toes under, bring those knees back to hip width apart, spread out through those fingers, index fingers and thumbs, tuck those toes underneath, and then from here we're going to start to come into our downward dog. Now this is going to work the core and also the arms, so if you need to drop to the knees carefully at any point, please do, hence keep the blanket there if you need it to pad up the knees. Otherwise, tuck those toes under, imagine a tether between the belly and the thighs, and then start to press that tailbone towards the back of the room, keep the knees bent, arms and ears in line, so pulling back into that tailbone, and then stepping back a little with one foot, then the other foot, keeping those feet hip width apart, and maybe keep those knees bent, because first thing in the morning we can be quite stiff, so gently working up that flexibility in the calves, the hamstrings, maybe lift and lengthen through one heel, then the other, bring that knee across the body, maybe gently, pendulously sort of swinging those hips from side to side, pulling back into our downward dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. And then here is for some core work. So pressing through those fingertips, and you can modify a little on your forearms if you have got sore fingertips at all. So you can come into your dolphin pose from here. But effectively we're then going to ripple through the spine on an inhale. So I'll come into our up dog, my down dog here. Ripple through the spine on an inhale, bringing those shoulders over the wrists, lengthen through the crown of the head. And you can modify, as I say, on the knees or on the forearms if you're nursing any injuries there. Lengthen through the crown of the head on our inhale, and then exhale, draw that tummy up and underneath you, and then roll back through the heels. Let's try that one again. So if you're in your down dog with me, pressing through those heels, and then coming into the toes as you inhale, bring those shoulders over those wrists, lengthen through the crown of the head, keep that tummy nice and strong, pelvic floor lifting up, lengthen through crown of the head, and then inhale, back up to our height, the greatest height here, and then exhale through the heels. Last time, inhale, coming into the toes, put a bend in those knees if you need to, rippling up that spine as we lengthen through the crown of the head, keep that tummy nice and strong, inhale, and then exhale, rounding back up into our downward dog, still on the toes, and then exhale through the heels. Pull back, pressing through. This time we're going to roll into our high plank, but we're going to come into our up dog or our baby cobra from here. So pressing through the heels, take an inhale, come into the toes, maybe bend the knees, ripple through the spine, drawing that tummy in, inhale, lengthen, shoulders over wrists, lengthen through the crown of the head, and then continue to drop those hips towards the floor, come onto the tops of the feet, and then lower into your up dog, pressing that heart forward, rolling those shoulders back. Otherwise, you'll be on those elbows, drawing those palms alongside you into your baby cobra, pressing through the tops of the feet. So we're either rolling down into our up dog, keeping those knees lifted perhaps off the mat, otherwise we're in our baby cobra and holding here. Strengthening through that spine, keep that tailbone tucking towards the heels, whether you're in up dog or cobra. And then from here we're going to tuck those toes, reverse back the way we came. Bring that tailbone towards heels, tummy towards thighs and press up and into our Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Excellent. Deep inhale here, and again please modify on the forearms if you need to, or bend the knees if you need to. And then from here we're going to lift that right foot straight up behind us. And again, this one you can practice modifying on the knee, that left knee if you'd like to. Keep that right heel lifted. And then we're going to draw that right knee in towards the chest, chin towards the chest. And then from here, we're going to step through into our high crescent lunge. So bring that left foot in towards the front of the mat. Deep bend in that front knee. Swim those arms up towards the sky. Bring that right hip back, left hip forwards as we lengthen towards the sky. Inhale deeply. Keep tucking that pelvis. Remember to put a bend in that back knee to begin with as we scoop that pelvis under. Then we can start to stretch through that back heel as we sweep those fingertips high towards the sky. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, we're going to reach over that front thigh and plant those palms again. And we're going to step back into our Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Inhale. Arms and ears in line. Exhale, gently lift that left heel straight up now. So switching towards the other side. And again, you can modify on the right knee here. Exhale, draw that left knee in towards the chest. And then we can step it through into our high crescent lunge on the other side. Again, keep a bend in that back knee, a nice bend in that front knee as we sweep those palms high into our high crescent lunge. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, press through that back heel once you've scooped that pelvis forwards and pin those thighs in towards center. Lengthen towards the sky. Exhale, framing that front foot, and then from here we're going to step towards the front of the mat. Keep that tailbone tucking and the knees bent as we come into our fierce pose or our Utkatasana. So bring that tailbone in towards the backs of the calves, sweep those fingertips forwards, squeeze those thighs together, draw that tummy in as we lengthen towards the sky. Inhale. And then we're going to exhale, folding over those knees, step the feet apart a little. And either, if you have the flexibility in your hamstrings, you can take the first two fingers and wrap them around the big toe mound. Otherwise, you can hook the opposite elbows or cross the arms and dangle, gently swinging from side to side. If you're taking the option with the first two fingers, wrap them around the big toe mound. Press that heart forwards. Take an inhale here and roll those shoulders away from the ears. And then exhale to fold over those knees. So you're either folding over those knees or you're hugging the opposite elbows and gently swinging a little from side to side. Same effect as had, we're stretching out the hamstrings, getting warmed up, but focusing on alignment here. So bring the weight forward a little. So whether you're swinging or whether you are in your forward fold here, bring those hips forwards so that they're over the heels. So over the heels here, bringing that weight forwards into the toes a little bit more. Take another inhale, lift and lengthen. So whether the arms are folded or holding the toes. And then exhale, folding forwards towards the knees. Knees can be bent again. Remember that is always an option in these forward folds to avoid overburdening that back. And take a nice deep breath here. Take this as a nice rest pose in between times. Exhale. And then inhale, lift and lengthen through the crown of the head. Roll those shoulders back whether arms are crossed or fingers are wrapped around toes. And then from here we're going to press through the feet, release those palms to the hips. Put a bend in those knees to keep the back nice and flat as we come all the way up to standing. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Send those fingertips upwards. Bring those hip points forwards. Again, scoop that pelvis forwards as we lengthen through the fingertips. And then exhale, release the palms in front of the heart in Samastatihi, or good standing. Bring those feet together, and now we're going to open up the chest and again stretch out the hamstrings before we build a little bit more heat this morning. Okay, so from here we're going to bring those palms high on an inhale, lengthen towards the sky. Exhale, open the palms, so palms face front, and open the elbows out towards the side of the room. Press and lift that heart up towards the sky, pressing through the heels. Really enjoy this back bend here. Then exhale, continue, so sort of wipe those palms out towards the side of the room, and then sweep them round until they're in an interlace at the low back. Draw those palms together, roll those shoulders away from the ears, lengthen through the crown of the head. Inhale deeply. And then we're going to exhale, put a bend in those knees, bring the tailbone in, tummy draws in towards the spine, bend over those knees, lengthening over those knees, and again you can step the feet apart here or keep them together. And then we're going to press through the backs of the legs, through the backs of the knees, and bring those fingertips up and overhead. Allow the crown of the head to dangle, so avoid looking up here. You'll notice, and you can practice without without injuring yourself, just to notice the differences. If you try to lift your head in this position, you'll feel a little bit crowded around the neck and the neck might be a little bit uncomfortable. So allow the crown of the head to dangle towards the floor and press those palms together as you reach those fingertips up and overhead. Deep inhale here again. Remember, always, always you can step the feet apart or put a bend in the knees. Go with whatever feels right in your body today. Exhale forwards. Inhale, bring those palms to the low back. Put a bend back in those knees. Draw those palms down, past the tailbone, sweep those shoulders back, lengthen through the crown of the head, then press through the feet, bring those hip points forwards, back into a sort of standing cobra here. So draw those palms down past the tailbone, open up the chest, inhale deeply, supporting that low back by squeezing that tailbone towards the front of the room, drawing the tummy muscles in, and then exhale. We're going to go back the other way one more time, put a bend back in those knees. Start to fold back over, think belly towards thighs like in our downward dog. Exhale over those knees, again step the feet apart if you need to, palms up and overhead, and then start to stretch and lengthen through those heels, through those legs, as we straighten out a little through the hamstrings here, and allow that head again to dangle, so avoid looking up, but we can nod the head yes, and shake the head no a little, just to get a little extra release in the neck. Good, and then as we're ready, exhale, lower those palms to the hips, bring the hands to the hips, draw those elbows in towards centre, bend in those knees. Inhale, lift and lengthen, nice flat back. Exhale, press through the feet to come all the way up to standing. Good, excellent. Okay, so from here, we're going to build a little bit more heat now, and there will be some modifications and options for you to take should you want them. So we're going to take a vinyasa now. I'm going to move my blanket, but some of you might want to keep yours. So I'll show you option 1 and option 2, and then we can pick where we're at and practice together. So we're going to start at the front of the mat. And vinyasa just means everything in its place, a little mini sequence which works for nice transitions, and it keeps that cardio up, burns some calories, keeps that metabolism nice and boosted, and gets us started set up for the rest of the day. So we'll be starting all together in Tadasana mountain pose, fingertips reaching alongside the body. So watching first, then we can join in. Option 1. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, palms in front of the heart, lengthen through crown of the head. Avoiding any living room bushes. Exhale towards the knees. Inhale, bend those knees, look forwards and step towards the back of the mat. Step towards the back of the mat. And again, you can modify on the forearms if the fingers are sore or you have any carpal tunnel or anything like that. Inhale towards the back of the mat. Then exhale to the knees. Bring those palms or forearms alongside the body, chest and chin. Again, we can still be on the forearms here, otherwise palms will be resting alongside the body. Then inhale, sliding forwards into our baby cobra. Hug those elbows in, lift and lengthen, tailbone towards heels. Then exhale, reversing, again forearms or palms back the way we came. Up into our Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. And then from here, stepping towards the front of the mat. It doesn't matter how many steps you take to get there. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, folding. And then we'll all meet the same way. Nice flat back as we inhale to rise up. Exhale to release. So that's option 1. If you're feeling a bit more lively this morning, or if you'd like to take this option, this is what it will look like. So sweeping those palms high. Exhale, swan diving. Maximum capacity for cardio here. Exhale, looking in. Inhale, lift and lengthen, plant the palms and floating. Landing with bent elbows alongside the rib cage. Sliding into your up dog onto the backs, onto the tops of the feet. Drop that tailbone, shoulders roll back, length through the crown of the head. And then tuck those toes on an exhale, tuck the tailbone, draw tummy up and in. Through into our Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Inhale will be bend the knees. And then exhale to float towards the front of the mat. And then we meet all in our Uttanasana, our forward fold, as we then press through the feet to rise up with a nice flat back. Okay, so option 1 or option 2. Those who've been with me for a while will know option 2 quite well. So feel free to go ahead with that, and I'm going to go for option 1 this morning. So if you're newer to this vinyasa, then practice option 1 with me. And we'll start at the front of the mat. So big toes together, heels apart, nice standing, stacking those joints. Inhale, sweeping those palms high, reaching for the sky. Inhale deeply. Exhale, remember option 1 is palms to press in front of the heart. And then as the hands reach the heart, we start to lengthen away through the crown of the head. Drop those shoulders away from the knees. And then lower to look towards the knees again. Feet can be apart for this one and knees can be bent. Inhale, bend those knees, look forwards. Exhale, maybe come onto the palms or the forearms, or step gently to the back of the mat. Lower down. Through your Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Draw that tummy in. Inhale deeply. So you're either floating or landing in your chaturanga here with those elbows in. And then exhale, either swinging through into your up dog gently or coming down onto the knees with me, the chest and the chin. And then sliding forwards into your baby cobra or your up dog. Hug those elbows in, we all meet there. Inhale, lift and lengthen through crown of the head. Exhale, tuck those toes. Reversing back the way we came. Modifying on forearms if you need to. Exhale, look towards the floor in your downward dog. Inhale, bend those knees. And then start to walk gently towards the front of the mat or float. Tailbone is low, knees are bent. Inhale, sweep those palms out, nice flat back as you press through the feet, rooting down, anchoring to the floor as we lengthen through the fingertips up towards the sky. Inhale deeply and exhale down. Good. We're going to practice that one more time together. And then from there we're going to come into our sort of cheetah sequence, I like to call it at different times. So from here, big toes together, heels apart, sweep those palms wide. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, palms in front of the heart if you're taking option 1, or you're swan diving down for your option 2. Exhale, look towards the knees. Inhale, look up, bending. Plant those palms or forearms and step towards the back or float towards the back of the mat. Through your Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog, or you're on the forearms in a modification. Inhale, bend those knees, chest and chin, or sliding through into your up dog. Baby cobra here for everyone else. Onto the tops of the feet, tuck those tailbones towards the heels, roll those shoulders away, hug those elbows. Tummy draws in. Exhale, tuck those toes, reversing. Back the way we came, tummy draws in. Send that tailbone high, look towards the floor, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog or modification. Inhale, look forward, bend those knees, and either walk, hop or float towards the front of the mat, tailbone is low. Send that heart forwards. Inhale. Exhale, sweep those palms, press through the feet, root down really strongly as you then rise up towards the sky. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, palms to press in front of the heart. Okay, so I think we'll practice a little bit of balancing now, and then we'll step up the cardio. So this one is a really good balance, not only for general muscular strength, but it's also really good for waking up the psoas muscle, which is a deep core abdominal muscle, which is a really good basis for a six-pack. I'm just saying, you know. But it basically means that we have an extra support deep in the abdominals, which supports the lower back as well, so it can help with lower back pain, with sciatica, those sorts of things. So we're going to work the psoas here. So start somewhere at the front of your mat, the middle of your mat, or maybe because it's a bit of a balance, you'll want to stand against something where you can support the weight comfortably, and you've got your sort of wall or your sofa there for moral support, because it involves lifting a knee and balancing on the other leg. So wherever you are is fine. Spreading out through the toes of both feet, coming into your Tadasana or your mountain pose. Roll those shoulders over those hips, press that heart forwards, lengthen through the fingertips, and the crown of the head rises up towards the sky. Everything draws in towards the midline. Scoop that pelvis under and try to create the maximum space and length in the body that you can. Then pressing through the feet and feeling that line of energy rising up through the feet, through the crown of the head, and then back down through the fingertips. Keep that heart lifting. Remember, our difficulties are sent to rouse us, not discourage. So we're going to find some encouragement and some rousingness today. So from here, we're going to come into a balance. So we're going to shift the weight into our standing leg. So this might be different according to whether you're against the wall or a sofa or not, okay? I'm going to shift my weight into the left leg and I'm going to work from there. And from here, we're going to draw that right knee in towards the chest and hold it with the knees if you can. So hold the knees with the palms if you can. Draw those right toes back, or that bent knee and foot back. But then from here, what I want you to do is lift that knee a little bit higher. Draw that tummy in strongly as you get some length through the crown of the head. And then release the palms up towards the sky. So really focusing on your balance here. Keep squeezing that bent knee in towards the chest. And you'll start to feel those deep core abdominal muscles working. And that is where your psoas lives, okay? So holding that knee strongly in towards the chest. We're going to release it in a little while, but this is a strengthening exercise. So lengthen through those fingertips towards the sky. Keep getting length through the side of the body. Keep those front toes drawn back. Hold it here. Tailbone is tucking under. Tummy's drawn in. If the leg starts to shake a little, don't worry. Just breathe a little bit more slower, steadier. Maybe tap the foot down. But then from here, we're going to see if we can extend that foot out in front of us. So seeing if you can keep that same height. It's very difficult because we're really working the tummy muscles here. We're going to extend through that foot, draw those toes back and see if you can hold it in place And then you might start to feel this just above the to the side of the back here, just above the glutes, and that is also the psoas because it wraps around that area, so deep into the abdominals and around to where the glutes are, and you'll feel it really firming. From here, we're going to put a bend back in that knee, draw it in, bring those palms in front of the heart, and then from here we're going to see if we can swing that foot back slowly behind us, and then lengthen into a warrior 3 variation, rotating that outside hip in towards the other hip, so pin them in towards center, lengthening into your warrior 3 from here. Just going to come forwards a little bit, lengthening to your warrior 3, keeping those hips rotating in towards one another, so keep that back heel lifting, those toes pointing down, and then from here we're going to exhale, step back into a high crescent lunge with that front knee bent over that front ankle. Sweep those palms up into our high crescent, put a bend back in that back knee, scoop the pelvis and then stretch back through that heel, pressing through that back heel, lengthen through the fingertips, and then from here we're going to exhale, step back towards the front of the mat into our Utkatasana or fierce pose. Tuck that tailbone, draw the tummy in, lengthen through the fingers, and then we're going to exhale and fold tummy towards thighs, over those knees to release both legs. Again, maybe step them apart, keep the knees bent, whichever feels comfortable for you. Holding there. Nice, deep, slow inhales, exhales. And then inhale, we're going to put bend back in both those knees. Bring those palms forwards, palms are facing. Inhale, lengthen, scoop the pelvis. And then press through the feet to rise up and lengthen. Inhale, exhale, palms to press in front of the heart. And we're going to switch to the other side now. So hopefully that side is feeling a little bit more strong than it was before. And certainly more active. And we're going to come into that standing balance on the other side. So I'm going to bring my weight now into my right foot. So we're going for the opposite side. Spread out through all four corners of the feet and begin by putting a bend in that opposite knee. Supporting that knee, drawing it in towards the tummy. Drop those shoulders away from the ears and draw those front toes back. Press through the standing heel of that standing leg. And then from here, squeeze that knee even further in towards the chest if you can. And then we're going to see if we can hold it there with the toes drawn back as we lengthen through the fingertips towards the sky. And really squeeze that knee in towards the chest. Continue to press through that standing leg as we hold that knee high. Hold, hold, hold. Inhale deeply. Breath slow and steady. Keep it a little bit more in if you can. Squeeze it in deeply. Hold. Hold. And then exhale, start to extend through that bent knee leg towards the front of the room. Keep those toes drawn back. Again, scoop that tailbone under, draw that tummy in strongly, lift up on those pelvic floor muscles and hold it here. Arms are lengthening towards the sky, see if you can create some space for the chest. And then from here, put a bend back in that knee and start to slowly swing back, bring palms in front of the heart. Swinging back into our warrior 3 variation, keeping that thigh internally rotated as we take this into a balance. Lengthen through the crown of the head. If you need to bring the fingertips to a sofa or a couple of bricks in front of you, that's fine also. Want you nice and comfortable, nice and steady. Holding here. Then from here, we're going to gently step back, put a bend in that front knee, coming into our high crescent lunge. So bend that back knee to scoop the pelvis. Bend in the front knee above the ankle. Sweep those palms high into our high crescent. Inhale, lengthen. And then start to press through that back heel, keeping that same position, that same stability in the pelvis as you reach for the sky. Lengthening here. Good. And then from here, instead of coming into a vinyasa, we're going to start to open into our second sequence. So pinning those thighs in, so draw that right hip back, left hip forward as we continue to stretch with that back heel and lengthen towards the sky. And then from here, we're going to open towards the long edge of the mat, towards me. Keep a bend in that front knee. Ooh. Keep a bend in that front knee into our warrior 2, pressing through the outside of that back foot. Sink that pelvis down towards the floor. Lengthen through those fingertips. And then spread out through the toes of that front foot. Keep that tailbone tucking, tummy drawn in. And then we're going to flip that front palm up towards the sky and we're going to reverse our warrior. So inhale and reach for the back of the room. Lengthen through those fingertips and bring that back palm down the back thigh as we lengthen towards the back of the room. Keep that tummy again drawn in. Avoid sort of softening through the belly here as you reach back. Keep it drawn in as much as you can. And then from here, we're going to exhale, release that palm back through our warrior 2. And we're going to come into an extended side angle, but with a difference. We're going to work the core again. Okay, so from our warrior 2 arms, we're going to bring that front forearm to the inside of that front thigh and take our Jnana Mudra, so index finger and thumb on that right forearm. And then from here, we're going to sweep those left fingertips down, around and up. See if we can get a nice long line from the outside of that back heel to the hip, to the shoulder, to the fingertips, okay? And you'll feel this in the thighs as well. So we're burning some calories this morning as we press that forearm into the thigh and continue to twist from the belly towards the long side of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. For that extra touch now, for that extra core work, keep that pelvic floor lifting and then release that forearm from the thigh and reach to the room in front of you. So almost like now you're holding a beach ball, so bring those fingertips out in front of you towards the front of the room, scoop that belly in and hold in this position here. Holding here. Otherwise keep your forearm resting on your thigh and maybe you can bring that back palm to the hip. So see what feels comfortable here. Keep scooping that pelvic floor, that pelvis, reaching for that beach ball in front of you. Good. And then from here, exhale, bring that beach ball with you up towards the sky. And then swim those arms back round into our warrior two. We're going to reverse our warrior again. So flip that front palm, reach for the back of the room, and this time take that front leg with you, drawing it back, straightening through both legs. Shorten your stance a little, bring that back foot in, lengthen towards the back of the room in our Trikonasana, our reverse triangle. Again, keep that tummy drawing in. And then from here, we're going to exhale, put a bend back in that front knee, back to our warrior two. Then we're going to turn up on that back heel, and we're going to bring those left fingertips towards the outside of that right thigh. So bring that left palm out towards the outside of your right thigh, bring the palms to touch and come into our twisting prayer lunge. And again, you can stay lifted on that back foot or you can drop to the knee and come onto the tops of the foot. So take whatever option is comfortable for you today. So here we are in our twisting prayer lunge. So I'll just turn around so you can see. So left elbow comes to the outside of the right thigh. Otherwise, just drop the fingers to the floor and bring that right hand to the hip, depending how you feel here. Otherwise, twisting high lunge or low lunge. Good. Press the palms together. Draw those shoulders away from the ears. Holding here. Good. And then we're going to drop to that left knee. We're going to keep in that twist, but we're going to open up the arms. So open up towards the right side, pinning those thighs in towards center into a closed twist. Lengthen through the fingers. Holding here. Deep inhale. Then exhale, tuck those toes or stay in your low twisting lunge here. And then come all the way up into that twisting lunge over towards the right hand side. Drawing those thighs in towards center and keep scooping that pelvis underneath you. Inhale deeply. Exhale, unwind. We're going to plant those palms and step towards the back of the mat. Again, you can modify on the forearms. Whoops. Into our Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Inhale into tailbone. Exhale through the heels. Pressing through index fingers and thumbs or the forearms. If that feels more comfortable. Then inhale, look forwards. And we're going to step towards the other side. So hopping, skipping, jumping or floating towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, folding over those knees, so taking our mini vinyasa here. Then inhale, reaching out for the sides of the room, press through the feet to inhale to rise up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, palms to press in front of the heart and preparing for that same thing on the other side. So from here, we're going to step the opposite foot back this time. So we're going to step back with the right foot into our high crescent lunge. So again, bend the back knee, bend the front knee, scoop the pelvis and then stretch out through that back heel as we reach those palms up to our high crescent lunge. Lengthen the fingertips and then exhale, opening again out towards that opposite side, hopefully towards me, coming into your warrior two, arms here. Front knee bent over front ankle, heel to toe, heel to instep alignment with the feet. So front heel, back arch of the foot, lengthen through the fingertips. Inhale, flip that front palm up towards the sky and reach for the back of the room. We're going to reverse that warrior. Inhale, lengthen. Really keeping that tummy drawn in. Lengthen towards the sky. And then from here, we're going to exhale back through our warrior two and come into our extended side on the opposite side. So this time, take your Jnana Mudra, index fingers and thumbs on the inside of that thigh. And we want that nice long line from the outside of that back foot as we sweep those right fingertips up and around, up above the head, twisting from the belly again towards the front of the room. Twisting out towards the long edge of the mat as we look up towards the sky and keep a bend in that front knee to our extended side angle here. From this position, you can hold your extended side angle in this position. Otherwise, you can bring that left palm out in front of you. Right fingertips can reach out for the front of the room, and imagine holding that giant beach ball again between the palms of the hands as you continue to lift that core, draw the pelvic floor up and in, and press the fingers out towards the front of the room into our core stretch here. Or core strengthener even. Holding, holding, holding. And then from here we're going to inhale, press through the feet, bring the palms with us into our beach ball. And then from here we're going to windmill the arms back into our warrior two. Release the beach ball, it's somewhere over there now. Lengthen through those fingertips. Flip that front palm up towards the sky. Reach for the back of the room again in our peaceful or reverse warrior. Drop that right shoulder away from the ears. That back shoulder draws away from the ears. So you lengthen through the fingertips. And this time we're going to send that front knee with the fingertips towards the back of the room as we straighten up. Maybe shorten that stance a little. Keep scooping that pelvis, lengthening towards the back of the room into our reverse Trikonasana. Inhale deeply. Good, let's hold it here for an extra moment. And then as we're ready, exhale, put a bend back in that front knee. Back to our warrior two, arms. And then we're going to turn on that back heel so that the hips now face the short edge of the mat. Shorten that stance again for stability reasons if you need to. I know I do. Tuck that tailbone under, draw the tummy in, back into our high crescent lunge. Press through that back heel, keeping that pelvis nice and stable, pinning those thighs in towards center. And then exhale, palms to press in front of the heart. And we're going to reach those right arms over towards the left into our twisting high lunge here. So I'll just switch sides. So bringing that right elbow to the outside of the left thigh, press it in, otherwise bring those right fingertips to the floor or a surface to just gently twist towards the left hand side. Otherwise taking your reverse prayer twist, palms are pressing. Keep that back heel lifted, sink that tailbone down, draw that tummy in into that closed prayer twist over towards the left. Length through the crown of the head, look over that left shoulder. Spread out gently through the fingers, pressing them gently, and spreading out through the toes of that front foot. You'll really feel this in the thighs here. Good. Holding. Good. And then from here we're going to drop to that right knee and open up the arms. So still twisting to the left. Open those arms over towards the left, that low twisting lunge. Again, scoop that pelvis, even if you have to lift that belly up and draw back to an upright position. Feel free to take that. We want the pelvis stable the whole time. Lengthen through those fingertips. And then we're going to tuck those back toes under and lift back up into our high twisting closed lunge. Keep pinning those thighs in towards center. Lengthen through those fingertips. Good. And then from here we're going to unwind towards the right hand side. I'm going to switch sides here. Towards the right hand side through our warrior two legs. And then we're going to open up on the right toes too and put a bend in those knees. So now the toes are facing out towards the long edge of the mat. Both knees are bent over both ankles even. Bring those palms to the hip points and roll those shoulders back over the hips. From here, we're just going to work the thighs a little, then I promise it will get easier. So maybe shifting those hips back and forth a little over those knees, just getting a little bit of movement in here. Maybe straightening through that left leg that we've just worked quite a lot. And then coming back into a goddess position with the knees over the ankles. From here, we're going to sweep those palms up. Inhale, lengthen. Then we're going to exhale, bring those palms to warrior two arms and lift up that right heel. Lift the right heel. Exhale, lower. Lift the left heel. Exhale, lower. Right heel. Exhale, lower. Left heel. Exhale, lower. Right heel. Exhale, lower. Left heel. Exhale, lower. Both heels, or continue to alternate if that feels more comfortable. Keep lifting those heels. Bring those palms up towards the sky. Lengthen through those fingertips. Keep that tailbone tucking under. And then we're going to exhale, straighten out through both legs. Bring the hands towards the hips. And then from this position, press through those hip points. Draw those shoulders back. Take it into a gentle back stretch. Inhale, lengthen. And then from here, we're going to exhale, hinge from those hips. Again, keeping that pelvis nice and stable, lengthen through the crown of the head. And bring those fingertips in front of us to a high surface or even towards the floor or even between the feet at that midpoint as we allow the crown of the head to dangle. dangle towards the floor. So we're inverting here, reversing that flow of gravity. Take a nice deep breath. So wherever you are in this pose is perfectly fine. Maybe bring the weight forwards into the toes a little, which can actually give you a little bit of a deeper release at the backs of the knees. And then maybe we can bring the weight back into the heels, which gives you a deeper stretch in the inner thighs. So just noticing difference when you bring the weight forwards and when you bring the weight back. And this works with the hands up high or low, depending where you are. Crown of the head reaches. And then inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, we're going to bring those heels in. So we're going to heel toe the heels in a bit at a time until the feet are as wide as the mat, the short way. Okay, and from here we're going to come into a crouching position, so into our malasana. So toes are pointing out towards the side of the room, and you can actually practice this one on a sofa if you'd like to. Okay, so you can bring the bottom to a sofa if you're just worn out already, and I can't blame you. Bring those toes pointing out towards the side of the room and sit on a higher surface. Otherwise, you're crouching in your malasana here. And then we're going to bring that right forearm to the floor, or the fingertips to the floor, as we twist over towards the left, as we lengthen through the fingertips. Inhale, lengthen towards the sky. And then exhale, folding back forwards, unwinding. Inhale, bring palms to touch, lift and lengthen through the crown of the head. And then exhale, lower those left fingertips towards the floor and twist towards the right. Lengthen through those fingers. Inhale deeply. Exhale, unwind. And then from here, whether you're up on your sofa or you're down on your floor, I'm going to ask you to roll back now into Anavasana. So from here, we're going to drop to the bottom, bring those knees in, sit nice and tall, walk those heels in towards the body, lift the heels off the floor, shoulders over those hips again, and you can stay here if you'd like to, just drawing the tummy in towards the spine and working that core connection. Otherwise, you can start to come into those sit bones and start to lift one foot, then the other foot. Maybe bring the palms alongside the body, and then from here you can lengthen through one foot, then the other foot. Maybe you can alternate and scissor, just like we did a bit at the beginning of class. Squeeze the thighs together if that feels better, if that's more supportive for that pelvic floor. And then from here, we're going to lengthen away and roll all the way down onto our backs. Okay, so we're going to shuffle in now. We're going to stretch out the legs, take a couple of twists, and then I'll let you rest for a few minutes, okay? So from here, we're going to lengthen through that left heel, bring that right knee in towards the body, hug that knee in, exhale, press through that right heel towards the sky and hold behind the thighs as you press through that right heel towards the sky. Imagine putting a perfect footprint on the ceiling or the sky above you, spreading out through those toes and really gently pressing through the sole of the foot towards above you. Holding there. And then from here we're going to put a bend back in that right knee and either reach for the inside of that right foot or the outside of that foot and draw that knee out towards the side of the room into a half happy baby. Bring those left fingertips to that left hip point to the side of you here to draw that pelvis to stable, the lower back to stable against the floor. Keep those shoulders opening and just gently enjoying this stretch in the hips. Maybe you can draw a little circle in the air with that right heel in one direction and the other. Maybe really you're just drawing a line. Doesn't matter, just get a little bit of mobility in that hip. And then gently, we're going to release that right foot alongside left and we're going to switch to the other side. So draw that left knee in. Again, you can bring that left heel in too to keep both knees bent if you prefer. Otherwise, lengthen through right heel and stretch through left heel towards the sky, hugging the backs of the thighs with the fingers. Maybe sort of fanning and curling the toes a little in this position, but keeping that low back resting against the floor. Draw that thigh in towards the body. And then as we're ready, we're going to put a bend back in that left knee and reach for the inside or the outside of that foot. Drawing it out towards the side of the room. Bring that right palm to the right hip point. Maybe you look over towards the right hand side. And then maybe draw some circles in the air on that left heel or draw some lines this way, that way. Just get some mobility, some movement. And then gently release, bring that knee back in towards center, hug both knees in. Give yourself a hug and then bring the arms out to shoulder height and roll those hips over towards the right as you look over towards the left. Soften and close the eyes. Maybe you bring that right palm to the outside of that left thigh again and just gently press down and then draw it across towards the right hand side to get a deeper stretch in that glute muscle, the lower back. Just really gentle opening for the low spine here, gentle stretch. Really enjoy that gentle stretch. And then exhale, bring those knees back through center, draw them in towards the chest. And then gently drop those knees over towards the left as we open towards the right. And then same thing here to help to ease yourself into the twist. Bring that left palm to that right thigh and just gently press down. So draw it in towards the belly and then press it across the body gently. Just softly drawing a little extra length in that low side waist in the low back as you look out over towards the right hand side. And then exhale, release. Draw those knees back in towards the chest. And then it is time to relax. So get yourselves rested in your Savasana with your eyes closed, your chin away from your chest to begin with as you roll those shoulders away, palms face up. And then gently, as your last expression, just tuck that chin in towards the chest, getting that length and stretch for the neck. You can walk the feet wide or you can keep the knees bent, just adjusting fully. You have definitely earned this rest. So make sure you get really comfortable for the rest of your practice. I'm going to dim the lights my end, not that it's going to make much difference, but I'll do it anyway. Maybe if you have a drink handy, a sip of drink before you rest is not a bad idea. And then lower and soften to the floor. So just begin by taking a deep breath in through the nose. And then exhale through the mouth. Really sigh it out. And then try again. Deep breath in through the nose. See if you can get it all the way into the belly, into the pelvis, maybe almost all the way into the bottom. Breathing in deeply. And then exhale through the mouth. Last time, deep, smooth and steady inhale through the nose. Deeper still. Keep those shoulders soft. And then this time without control, just allow it to flow right out. Exhale through the mouth. And then just feel your body soften and open. So imagine yourself as a tightly closed bud whose petals gently soften and open towards the light. So imagine that sort of unfurling through the toes. Maybe you feel the knees roll open to the side a little, the thighs opening. You feel the low side waist, the back rolling open, pressing softly into the floor. The shoulder blades pressing into the floor, the shoulder heads at the front, broadening away from each other. Fingertips rolling outwards, palm nice and soft. Chin in towards the chest. And then just feel again this sort of gentle unfurling, this gentle uncreasing at the forehead as you allow the whole of the head to just soften, open, become receptive and relax. Just being clear in your mind as to your intention, whether for your practice, for life in general. Often the two go together. What we wish for on the mat, or what we intend on the mat, is often something we'd like to cultivate in everyday life. And then just for a moment, allowing your awareness to sink into the lower belly. So your power center, your seat of confidence, control, creativity. Just broadening your awareness now to your weight on the floor, the temperature of the air on your skin. Wonderfully present. And then sending your awareness a little bit higher towards the heart level, the level of the heart, checking in with the state of the emotional body. And then travelling a little higher up to the point between the eyes. Any thoughts arising, checking in with the thoughts. Perhaps the thoughts are connected to feelings. And then just allowing yourself to consider for a moment that with each new day comes new strength and new thoughts. And each day is our gift, our chance to begin again. And then as you're ready, start to encourage or coax the body back to movement. Starting on the smaller joints perhaps, working up to bigger ones. Open, soften and release. And then bringing those knees in towards the chest, give yourself a hug. Before rolling onto your right hand side and pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat. Facing this way. And bring those palms to press in front of the heart in Anjali Mudra. Chin tilted in towards the chest in gratitude, in openness. And then bring those palms in front of the forehead for loving thoughts, to the heart center for loving intentions, and to the lips for loving communications. Thank you so much for your beautiful practice. I hope you were able to stay with me for most of it. I think you did. Feedback is always welcome. And I cannot wait to see you all again really, really soon. Hopefully as soon as tomorrow for a gentle stretch. Namaste.